passing on that then. Next one is letter dose to the editor, making SIGINT shareable. The database is the report. It's from SIGINT. It's from November 2004. And it talks about, the first paragraph is labeled secret, and it talks about having read the SIDToday article on database sharing and wanting to express that they were appalled. They write, I am well aware that for years the users of our reports have yelled to know how we know what we know, or feel they need the raw info to better understand what our reports say. But to indicate that by doing this allows our customers to analyze and manipulate the data to come to their own conclusions, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, yeah, I remember the document that's referring to, and we were, Susie and I last stream were discussing the issue that the massive significance of the customers themselves as opposed to just the NSA getting the information, how it gets the information. Susie talked at a decent length about the importance of customers and focusing on that. And after we discussed that, we looked at an article that talked about cutting out the middleman essentially and allowing customers to directly access data, and possibly that would allow them to, bypass a little bit of oversight. So this is responding to that. This letter back is responding to that document that we looked at.
This is an incredibly significant document.
Yeah.
Incredibly significant for a number of reasons. You want to just pop us out of full screen while we just discuss a little? Cool, thanks. So this is significant for several reasons. First of all, I had an exchange with @electrospaces on Twitter, which is actually a really good source of information about NSA stuff. I've learned a lot from documents that I've read on their website. Electrospaces.net is their website, @electrospaces on Twitter. Now they took umbrage with our analysis of the database sharing document because they said flat out, no raw SIGINT is ever shared with customers.
Interesting.
That it's never shared outside of the intelligence community, that it couldn't possibly happen. And I said, well, no, I really don't think so. This is what this document seems to be suggesting, is that in fact the raw product will be given to the customers.
Absolutely.
This document that we're looking at right now affirms that that's correct, that our analysis was correct, and that was in fact what was being, I want to say proposed, but it wasn't proposed, it was announced that yes, they were going to be doing this. The other reason I find this incredibly significant is because this is the first time we've ever seen an example of open dissent from an NSA employee.
Definitely.
It's the first negative feedback that we've ever seen in any of the SIDToday files. So the fact that an employee was incensed by this announcement, not only incensed, but they weren't privately expressing that they were incensed. They are telling it to the source, this is not okay. We are not happy with this. You're giving our jobs away. Exactly. It's the first indication that they might be taking some personal risk.
Definitely.
To share there. And also the third reason that it would be significant is that dissent has been acknowledged by the publishing of their comment.
Definitely.
Because these letters to the editor, there's an editor actually collecting them and then publishing them. So that suggests that the editor believes that this dissent is not isolated to a single employee, and that it needs to be aired and needs to be addressed. So that's my takeaway from reading the first half of the document. But have you got anything else that you want to add to that, Elizabeth?
No, I just, all that I wanted to say was just the background, the context of us looking at customers closely last time, you expressing a really great analogy to give context and explain the importance of customers versus some of the other aspects of these documents. And then right after that, we did find what this letter is referring to, which is the indication that they were allowing customers to directly access data. So that's all that I have. But I completely agree with everything you've said. I think it's hugely significant as well, for sure.
Very, very newsworthy, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a good start right off the bat, getting into some really important documents.
Cool. Okay, jump back into it. I think I'm just going to go send a little tweet about that. I'll dig out my tweet to electrostasis.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll just share screen and I will keep reading the rest of that particular file. 1 second. Just sharing screen. I'll forget. Okay, so back to this letters to the editor file. And we have the first and it's no question as to why that paragraph is labeled secret. The next is unclassified, and it's about the collection management branch. And they say, thank you for your recent article on information sharing. Most of the unified commands have been advocating for this for years, and it is gratifying to finally see public support for this concept from within the NSA. We understand how tough it will be to change the thinking of many and applaud your work in this area. The folks who made roadbed externally accessible related their struggle to us, and we understand the resistance to change that must be overcome. In the end, the efforts of people like the author will make SIGINT far more efficient and effective. We applaud your work. Thank you. And I don't know what Susie has to say about this, but basically that particular comment, I think I can see why that's unclassified, which is that it's, well, I take that back, but to sum that up, what I take away from that is they're literally just applauding the information sharing that we see so often emphasized in Transformation 2.0. That is a huge theme that we've seen throughout the Snowden files so far, has been the effort to increase the openness and the information sharing between agencies, in a tiered way between Five Eyes members and other parties like that. So the second paragraph of the second letter, I don't see as much as interesting as the first one. But it's
interesting that it's from NORAD.
Yeah, that's true.
That it's from the NORAD, Northcom Collection Management Branch, I think is interesting.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
This is the managers. Sorry, I turned my cam back on.
I'll turn off share.
This is management openly addressing dissent within their organization.
Interesting. That's another way of looking at it, for sure.
It's interesting, though, that it comes from a branch, from a collections branch. It doesn't come from MG Quirk, the head of Signals Intelligence Directorate, yes, or presumably from the direct manager of this employee. But it's very, very interesting. Actually, let me see. I've got the document open somewhere. I just want to double check that second paragraph.
Or I can screen share again for a second.
Oh, it's cool. I've got it. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so it's actually not a direct response. So what they are doing is showing both sides of the coin. So first they're showing the unhappy employee, and then they're showing a branch saying, wow, thank you, this is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Most of the unified commands have been advocating this for years. Now, those would be customers.
Yeah.
The customers have been advocating this for years, and it is gratifying to finally see public support for this concept from within the NSA, which is rather amusing considering that it's definitely not support that is directly above it.
Definitely, absolutely, that makes sense.
And then we understand how tough it will be to change the thinking of many, and that is almost seems to be a subtle reference to the dissenting opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
The folks who made roadbed, I would definitely make a note of roadbed.
Yeah, I had never heard that term before.
Related their struggle to us. So they're saying that already there is a program where the raw SIGINT has been supplied to the customers.
Yeah, okay.
And we understand the resistance to change.
Yeah.
So this is a really subtle way of them addressing it without directly addressing the dissenting opinion as a person, but just more, they're basically saying this is a, growing pains, change management, again, that standard corporate approach, because this is all what corporate change management is about. They always talk about resistance to change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What I find most significant about that document is the last line from the employee, where they say, now the customer will get the plate and the fork and get to dine at will.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a very, very important sentence.
Yeah, what that means is that rather than the customer having to put in a specific information need request into the customer portal, they will be able to just sit on that information, sit on that data, and then come back to it whenever they want to. So they won't have to stipulate what their use is.
Yeah.
They could stipulate a broad use to obtain an entire database. And they might have many reasons over time that they would want to use that, but they're no longer having to justify those reasons to the NSA on a case-by-case basis.
It definitely allows them to bypass accountability again, you know, for sure.
I think it would help them to bypass accountability and oversight, definitely. It's meaning they're not having to disclose their motives or reasoning to the NSA.
Which could then potentially be FOIA'd or otherwise scrutinized.
Well, I don't think any of this can be FOIA'd because it's all classified. Yeah. I guess maybe some of the unclassified parts, well, I'm not sure. I assume NSA.
Well, I just mean like the potential.
Pretty sure they're exempt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a hugely significant discovery.
Definitely. Hugely
significant. Oh, awesome. Some of my old Occupy people are here. That's so cool. Cool. So yeah, I think this is massive. I'm just going to make a note of that document link, add it to my notes for the write-up. I think that's incredibly significant.
Definitely, me too. Yeah, my only other thought about the FOIA is that, you know, obviously even the average individual, you know, citizen that's submitting a FOIA to the government to request information, you have to have your reason for doing that, to specify it. It's this, you know, and so to have customers not have to submit any type of reasoning for their request is really amazing. It's really mind-blowing.
Yeah, what it means is they don't have to justify why they want a specific piece of information. They only have to justify why they're interested in the entire database.
Okay, yeah. Important differentiation for sure.
Exactly. So it's like saying, I'm interested in that pie, give it to me, but not saying I'm interested in that slice of the pie or that slice of the pie or that slice of the pie. It's allowing them to give a more high-level justification for why they want information about a target.
Absolutely.
It allows them to be non-specific.